Hello there, everyone, and welcome to another episode of She Rises, Amplify, and Thrive live speaker series, where we have the most amazing spiritual gurus, healers, energy workers, visionaries from all around the globe coming here to share their wisdom and their messaging and their inspiration with everyone around the globe. And a huge thank you to all of the listeners and everybody who has donated, because every time you sign up for one of the speakers, beautiful donation gifts, and you donate, that money goes to my She Rises Foundation, where we are just doing that. We are rising women up, we are uplifting them, we are inspiring them to really step into their authentic way of being, empowering them into their leadership, entrepreneurship, whatever that looks like for them. And all of that money goes towards raising scholarships for them so that we can help them move in the right direction. And I never want finances to be a reason why a woman can't move forward and do her thing. So, as all of you know, my name is Kelly Boyer. I am the host of this series. And today, my guest is Kristen Bielecki. And she is an intuitive guide and crystalline grid architect who helps others embody their true self, transform patterns, and live in soul-aligned freedom, joy, and unity through multidimensional healing. And today we're going to be talking about awakening as an inward journey, release seeking, and come home to your wisdom within. Hi, Kristen. Welcome back. I'm so excited to have you back again.
Thank you, Kelly. It's always wonderful to be with you. I love your vibrant spirit.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate that. So I'm going to tell you, we were talking about topics before we hopped on here. And I really do love your topic because it's talking about that inward journey. So I would love for you to just go ahead and just, share with us what does that mean? What does that mean I'm going to say in the realm of like awakening and coming inward?
Absolutely. Thank you. Well, a lot of times in our life, we are always looking to the external for uh, what we need to be, who we are, how we need to be, and those types of things. Like we've been conditioned to do that. And what I have found in my experience of the embodiment of soul and really getting to know myself is that the most potent way to do that is to take time to be with myself, connect, reflect, look at myself and feel myself. And I know sometimes that can be really tricky because it's not always comfortable, right, to see things or feel things. And so, but that's why it's called the great work. In the mystic traditions, it's called the great work for that reason, because it takes a lot of attention and effort and that ability, that capacity to go, okay, if I really want to be in the essence of myself, or if I even really want to just feel good about myself, it's going to take going inward. And it brings it reveals such beauty over time of doing that. And I have found, and it also releases those places where we're holding our bodies, where we're holding the tension, if we're really willing to have those conversations and go on that journey inward. And releasing the seeking and is all about just recognizing that nothing out there in the world so let's put it this way, like we are in unity, right? Like everything is a reflection of everything else. It's a beautiful thing of source and unity, everything embodying source, and us is this beautiful individual unique expression of source. There's nothing out in the world that can be us. And so if we really want to be us, be ourselves, or if you really want to be you, then there's nothing in the world that can tell you who you are but you.
Yes. Sorry,
Yeah, yeah.
I want to dive in on this because I love exactly where we're going. About it's all about being. And the more and more that I talk to other I'm gonna say other healer, or like whatever healers, energy work, whatever we want to label everybody, everyone. Um,
Yeah.
and just having conversations with them, it's so interesting because this has to be the way that the energy is shifting.
Mm-hmm.
Because what I'm hearing them saying is, you know what? I think that I just want to be. Like I don't want to push anymore. I don't want to hustle. I don't want to fall into, another, like a kind of like another layer of conditioning, but I really
Mm-hmm.
just want to be. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to tell you, my work has also shifted to how do we get people to just be okay with just being who they are?
Yeah.
And it is an inward journey. It can be very difficult, but you know what? If you stick with it, then it's like there's just something so like magical and profound about it. So I
Mm-hmm.
love that you're talking about this, because I really feel like I feel like now that's the new, like kind of the new shift, especially if we want to come in, if we want to come into the, like the new earth that we're shifting into. We can't bring old paradigms into that.
Absolutely. Yeah, I appreciate you sharing that. It is really this next level structure, that we're operating from, that's allowing us to recognize that our innate wisdom, our truth is underneath all of that stuff, like all the old paradigms, like you said, it's underneath all of that. And so as we sit with ourselves and get to say, oh wow, I have that conditioning, or I have that belief, or I have that feeling, and I've been holding that for a long time about myself or about the world, being able to really connect with those parts of ourselves and say, yeah, well, maybe I don't need that anymore. Maybe that's, and then we get to go through the process of what it's like to transition from those specific beliefs to new ways of seeing, experiencing, and perceiving. And these kinds of events are really amazing because I have found myself, when I'm listening, it's more of like, okay, I feel that there is an inner inquiry, that's happening, and I'm going to receive something. If I'm listening to a podcast or I'm listening to an event like this or something, it's like, right. But it's not from a place of like desperate seeking that I'm trying to grasp onto something or figure something out. It's more like something's alive inside of me, and I'm drawn to that. And I'm drawn to that because maybe there is an answer or a aha or a revelation that my system's like, see, there it is. Like that's what that's what this is trying to show you. But just remembering that it always starts within first. And then what that within a vibration that is wanting to experience something different will magnetize, these types of conversations, or something that we overhear outside, when someone else is talking, or on TV, or we see it in nature. It's like, boom, it really brings that forward. And I'm all about releasing the pressure. Like I feel like sometimes I put a lot on my plate, but I'm also in listening. Like I'm listening. Like, okay, I'm feeling this coming through. And then I listen to when it needs to be done. And I'm like, okay, great. There's going to be some overlapping things going on. But I also trust in the capacity that that's part of what my life is here to do. So I'm like, okay, I'm just going to trust in that. And at the same time, it's like, it's not about the hustle or the bustle. It's about the essence and the frequency that's happening through the experiences that are being created through me, and really being alive with that, rather than it's work, or it's this or that, or it's the money or whatever. It's like, no, there's a living, breathing life going on here. Even just with your event, the She Rises, it's like your series, it's like it's a living, breathing, moving, alive thing that people get drawn into, right? And
Mhm.
it's beautiful, and it's like you're flowing with it, and that's what I feel life is asking us to do right now, is go yes to ourself, yes to going within and seeing what comes into our life from that, and flowing with it so that we can keep growing and learning from what we're experiencing and who we're choosing to be.
Yes, and I'm gonna tell you, I've been experiencing, like, the reason that I'm totally resonating with you is because I'm actually experiencing all of that right now, of just, and I think a lot of people can relate to this, especially when we talk about, like, we have to work and we have to do all this other stuff. But like, when I would get information that would come in, I would think that it was something that I had to put out right away. And I love that you had said about, having that feeling of always like working. That's how it started to feel, is like it came in and then now I'm working again, right? But the more that I have started to go within and started really stripping away that conditioning of what everybody else says I have to be or I have to do, now stuff comes in and I can sit with it. I can allow it to grow and blossom. And I trust that in the moment that it is supposed to be put out there is when
Mhm.
it's supposed to be put out there. And that may mean, in 2 days, that could mean in like 3 or 4 months, and be okay with that. And not feel like, oh my gosh, I have to do this.
Mhm.
And um and I think, and like, how much easier is this process? I mean, it's hard to go in and try to and like really work with that, but when you let go and you trust, like,
Mhm.
how easy is that flow once you're in it?
Yeah, it's the truth. It's the truth. And it's just getting through those moments of discomfort. It's kind of going, okay, what I like to do is just be in communication with myself every step of the way. It's like, okay, I'm feeling tension. Okay, I'm feeling discomfort. Oh, I'm feeling judgment. Oh, I'm feeling this. You know what I, and so I'm like naming it and experiencing it and like noticing where it's in my body, seeing where my thoughts are going with it, noticing how it's affecting even how I'm moving. Like I sometimes notice how I walk and I'm like, ooh, I'm feeling like I'm stiff when I'm walking because I'm like thinking these things, it's just like that's the inward journey of being so present with the self that you're right there with everything that's going on as much as you can. And that capacity develops over time, right? Of or practice of doing that to the point where it's like adjustment can come a lot easier and you can get into flow a lot easier over time because you're choosing to be in connection with what's right there and present instead of like you were like for me it's like what it was the awakening was like, oh, there's something that I've got to do in the world and then I've got to be this and that and and it was like, no, that silliness, it became to be like that's just another for me I felt like was building myself another box.
Yes. Yes, I am completely relating to everything that you said. And then we create a box, and then we create a box within another box and a box
Yeah.
within another box. And if I can share, like, as I went in and I really started looking at that, what I realized is that each box, like, I don't want to be in the box. I want to be flowing outside of the box. You know what I mean? But every box that I created, that I continued to put myself in, was
Yeah.
just another layer of, like, in all reality, was just another layer of conditioning. And finally, if like, I started to feel like my box got so small, I'm like, I don't even fit in it anymore. And it felt like so much pressure. And then I realized that it turned into this pressure to have to perform.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, that is not where we're at all.
Mm-hmm.
No
Yeah.
way. Yeah.
That's like the old version still trying to perpetuate itself, right? Instead of going, oh, wait, right. I remember that feeling when I just sat and breathed and I was able to allow, able to allow and then being present with it and then being okay with however it wanted to take shape and form instead of trying to make it take shape or form. And that's, I feel like what we do a lot. We're creating these boxes because we're like, oh, it needs to be this way, it needs to be that way, or we take on the ideas and beliefs around something. And I feel that's just part of the human condition too. And and like when I find myself doing that, I'm like, oh, right, wait a minute. I feel like me seeing it this way or trying to build my life in a certain way, it's I'm it's building another box. And so what I like to do is be really aware. Like how is my life, how is it feeling today? So I'm not in a space anymore of trying to project or traject my path, of like, there's a whole 5-year plan and the 10-year plan and all of that. And it's like, I never conceived of that when I was younger. I could never do that. I was like, how do you have like your whole next 2 years planned out? Like, I can't, like I like to just flow. I like to just receive and do things. So it's just a natural thing for me. And at the same time, once I had a child, I have a 10-year-old son. And then once I got into this, this path of being with him, I found that I kind of built us a box because it's like, oh, let's be stable, let's have a house, and let's do this. And before I traveled a lot, and now I'm going, and then I realized some months ago, it's like, wow, I kind of built another box. I got us into a routine, and I unschool and homeschool him, and I can work from anywhere. So why are we doing this?
Right.
And I was just noticing it's time to unwind that box. And it was good for what it was for for the years that we've done it. And now I'm like, I can feel there's a shift coming, and I'm just listening and watching the shift. And so a lot of times it's not a pressure to go, oh my gosh, what are my boxes? Go, I got to dismantle my boxes. It's more like life will show you, life will tell you when you're when your
Right.
box is no longer resonant. You'll feel it, you'll know it, and then
Mhm.
you can just move with it. And then you just become a new version of yourself. And maybe it's a new box, but it's going to be the box for however long it's going to be, because that's who you are and that's the frequency and structure you're living within. So it's not to say the boxes are bad. It's just a version of ourselves that we created for some reason, and we're learning about ourselves within it, and now we get to transition as we grow and learn, and it's going to become something else. Yeah.
Yes, I agree. I love that because you said what like kind of like basically what is my flow for today? And
Yes.
talking about the 5 year and the 10 year plan, I did fall into that. So then like I started planning like what is my 6 months going to look like? What is my year going to look like? What is 2 years from now going to look like? And then when it didn't look like that, the emotion that I felt was disappointed, because in my mind this is how it was supposed to be. So
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you, I am in the process of unlearning and deconditioning that, and really really being aware and present of what's today. And every time I start to fall into that, I just literally just pull it back. And I'm like,
Mhm.
what is today, right now in this moment? What do I feel like doing? And
Mhm.
maybe it's nothing, because that's what I need is nothing.
Yeah,
But
yeah. And our present moment oh, sorry, go
no,
ahead.
no, no, go ahead.
Yeah. And our present moment frequency, if we're in alignment with our present moment frequency, then guess what? Then we're going to keep being in more alignment. Like, so the way I was envisioning it as an example is like, how when you make plans with friends or something, and maybe it's 2 weeks down the road, and you're like, oh yeah, let's get together on this night at this time and do this. And then that day you're like, I don't feel like it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm
Yes.
not up to it. Or maybe, yeah, I'm super inspired. I'm excited to see my friends for that, whatever. But it's like, I found that. So for me, making long-term plans, it's like, what if I'm not there anymore? What
Mm-hmm.
if I'm not in that same feeling that I was when I made those plans or made those, whatever it was? And so now I'm like, well, I will tune in now when it's a long-term thing that I'm looking at, I'll really sit with it and say, what's the purpose? And what's the alignment of this from what I'm creating from this moment that's going to be feeding that experience? And so if it's aligned, I'm looking at its future alignment, not just as present moment alignment, how I'm feeling and what I'm thinking in the moment. I'm really wanting to bridge that gap. So I'm like, yes, that's a yes because it's a yes for that moment. And I don't know why. I might not know exactly why, but I'm feeling the alignment. I'm tuning in to make sure it's alignment for that moment, not just this moment now. But what I was getting before was the frequency that we are operating from wants us to be in the now, wants us to be in the present. And we can grow exponentially. And I feel like in the present moment, when we step into that alignment, that's where the greatest gift is for ourself. That's where the greatest opportunity lies, is in the present moment. And when we are aligned with that, I find that life expands really beautifully from that space. And I feel like that's what we're being called to do right now, is really remember that it's all about the now. It's not about tapping into the past. It's not about tapping into the future. Like I just said, though, I mean, I'll do that, but not like, oh, what am I, where exactly it is and how it is. I just get downloads and I'm like, this is going to happen, like like maybe it'll be 3 months down the road, but I'm not like necessarily marking anything on my calendar. I'm not necessarily like calling somebody up and saying, hey, I'm going to be here at this time. Because I'm like, I'm still in flow. I feel like that's such a freedom, and I want to offer that as an opportunity for people here to feel that freedom. Like, what's that like to be like, this is my rhythm. This is my tune of life. I want to be in my experience, because if I'm deeply embedded in my rhythm of life, then guess what? The things that are resonant for me will show up because I'm tuned into that rhythm, and then the other rhythms are in rhythm with me, like we're in a dance together of life.
Yeah, and that's what you're projecting out, because when
Yeah.
like, truthfully, we are really creating our reality. So when we're in
Mhm.
alignment, that is what we're projecting out in our reality. So that's what's going to be in our reality. Like, and I know that's like when we talk about manifesting, but like the truth is like, if you're in alignment with it, that's what manifesting is that it's not like all of a sudden it comes, you're already projecting it out, which means there's already frequency. You already have that frequency that is there. And if I can kind of go back about what you said, like you feeling into the future, like, in all, like, when you said that, I didn't really take it as like, like we were talking about, like, like, what's going to happen in
Yeah.
3 months, what's going to happen
Yeah.
in this. Maybe if I can share this, maybe it's not so much project, like, feeling into the future. I really feel like we're just kind of feeling into that quantum to
Yeah.
see if that frequency is still aligned. And as we all know, in the quantum, there is no past, present, or future. It is what is happening. That is what is happening in the now.
Yeah.
So, and then we just have to kind of bring it back. And then we're like, well, if it happens in 3 months, that's part of the human linear time, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I guess I wanted to say that is that I understood what you were saying, that that it's not necessarily we're projecting into the future. We're just going into that quantum, going, is this a frequency that will still be in alignment with us,
Yeah.
and seeing if that works. Go ahead.
Absolutely. I like how you brought that in with the quantum, and also just that space where uh if you receive, like for me, it's a receiving of something.
Mhm.
It's like,
Yeah.
okay, like months ago, I was like, okay, we're doing another, like I was telling you before, I'm doing the Unity Consciousness event right now. It's like, okay, it's time to do another Unity Consciousness event. What are the dates that it needs to air? And I just look at a, etheric calendar, and it shows me, okay, these dates. I'm like, okay, great. I will align myself with that and commit to that and do that. And I always find that it's always during a time where there's a landing of something on this planet, like a new coding happening on this planet, and we're just a part of that process. And so I'm like, okay. And the coding, I think that we're really emanating, because this type of conversation has been happening all week, of like, take the pressure off.
Yeah.
Like, let's just go inside and be with ourselves. Like, what else is there? What else is there? It's all right here. And
Yeah.
it's like we were saying, it's unwinding that idea of what's outside of us is going to validate or confirm or make us who we are, and it's like, I mean, yeah, we get conditioned by our environment. And if we're really in touch with our environment, we understand the conditions that are taking place, and we don't take them on if we don't want to. Like what happens when we're like children, and we don't know that difference between that, yet.
Yeah. I totally hear you, because I can tell you now that I'm like, oh, I'm going to embody this. I can literally feel like my nervous system calm down.
Mhm.
Like, um, I'm all, just everything about me has calmed down. And I really, and I'm sharing this because I want people to understand that this really does happen. If you stay in that present and you're like, well, what do I want in this moment? And I understand, like, sometimes we do have to like, we got to do things that might be a month out, because that's part of our human, like, that's part of just being human.
Mhm.
But if in every day, if you're checking in and saying, what is it that I want right now?
Yeah.
And it's so interesting how things really do come into alignment. I want to read something really quick that Lisa wrote.
Yeah.
She said, I totally relate, Kristen. Long-term plans are not me either. I live in flow. I love it. The now moments. I love the future. I love the future feeling, and also tune in inside if it feels aligned to plan in the future.
Yeah.
The blessed souls in my life flow is this as well and honor me. Yes, I feel a natural rhythm flows organically. So she's living in the flow. Lisa's living in the flow right now. I
Hey,
love it.
Lisa. Hey, Lisa.
Yes.
And not just that, I appreciate you reading that, Kelly. And not just that, it's amazing when you do have people in your life that can honor that. You
Yes.
know, that's like incredible. You know, one, first, that you chose to live in flow and you're doing it, and then to have the people in your life that support that. That's beautiful. Thank you, Lisa.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, it reminds me of how we truly operate and how some indigenous cultures operate this way. Like I've experienced it firsthand being in Africa and being in Nepal, where it's like things don't happen until everyone shows up.
Oh,
You know, and there's no, it's 5 o'clock today. You know, some people say, okay, we're gonna, like in Africa, we're gonna have a ceremony today, or we're gonna do this and that. And it doesn't happen until everyone shows up. And maybe you're sitting around all day and it doesn't happen until 9 o'clock at night. Because that's when that last person that needed to show up showed up. And they had to do what they had to do to get there, right? And no one was, everyone just flowed that way. Like, okay, great. Now we're all here. Let's do it. You know, and it's amazing. And I remember on one of my first summits, I had this woman that grew up in the Cameroon, and she was telling me same thing. Someone sounds a drum call, a specific drum call that there needs to be a community gathering. It might not happen for 3 days. It's not like, oh, community call, put down what you're doing and come. It's like when the energy is there and the frequency is there, that everyone is able to get there, that's when it happens. And then I started to think about that, you know, and go, well, how would we like, you know, because to our life, like, okay, we're showing up here today at 2 p.m. or whatever time it is your time in the world that you're showing up. And okay, here we are. You know, we got here at 2. But what would it be like if we actually lived that you, Kelly, and I decided to have a conversation and we just end up getting on and other people show up because we all felt it. We all showed up at the same time, you know? It's like I even though I was in those places for shorter periods of time, I'm like, what would that be like if we lived like that? Like these cultures still live like that in ways. And I'm just like, that would be pretty profound, a shift of consciousness, major shift of consciousness for us in this Western world over here. Yeah.
yes. And but I'm going to tell you what I do feel, and I'll be like honest, what I've been shown, like that is the direction that we're moving into. I love that you brought that up because I had a friend from Africa, and I'm going to tell you, even though he was over here, he moved at that pace. Like he lived that life. Like that was what it was. And I remember we would be like, "Hey, come over. We're baking cookies at such and such a time. Come over. We'll do that." And we'd make all these plans. And then we would be waiting around for him because he would be bringing one of the ingredients. And we would say that we were going to make cookies at 11, and he wouldn't show up until like 6 p.m. And we're like, "Where were you?" And he goes, "Well, I had stuff to do." And he was like, honest, he was like, "I just wasn't ready to do it yet. I knew it was today. I just wasn't ready to do it yet." And it used to drive us crazy because over here, you know, in the Western culture, we're like, you show up on time, you do
Yeah.
this is the time we're doing it at. But
Yeah.
but he and I became such good friends. And of course I knew that's how he was, but I noticed that at that time I started to fall into the rhythm of him, and knowing like, you know, even if we made plans at 10, that maybe those plans really wouldn't happen until 8 p.m. that night. And it was, and you know, and now that I look back on it, I hadn't thought about him until you brought it up, but he was totally living in this energy that we are now really wanting to flow into. And like his life was amazing. It was just so good. Like go with the flow. And the same thing. He didn't make decisions, you know, weeks ahead. He would always tell us, "Oh, that sounds really good." He goes, "Let me see how I feel on that day." And we're like, "Okay." And it was, you know, it was awesome. So those were
Mhm.
good. Those were good times. Frustrating at times, but good times. So there are people around the world that are that already know this, and now
Mhm.
we're like, I kind of feel like over here we're kind of just catching up, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's so beautiful to recognize these things and go, wow, we're unwinding from this attachment to time. We're unwinding to this attachment to, perfection, or we're unwinding to this attachment to, things working out a certain way, like you were saying. And it frees up so much energy. And that's really what's bringing this next form of life, or the new earth, into vibratory resonance with everything else, and it fascinates me because I'm the same way like he is, like, yeah, I'll see, like, I'm sorry that I'm not being committal, and I just know myself. And if I'm feeling tired, or if I'm feeling that I'd rather go over here and my energy needs this, I can't force myself into something that doesn't feel aligned, because then everyone's going to feel that. You know, that's,
Yes.
I think, the awareness that we're starting to come into, is we really are in this inner relationship where we're feeling what you're feeling. I'm feeling what you're feeling. And we're all experiencing this. And so, what do we really want to co create? Wouldn't we want to co create something where we're moving in our own individual rhythms that's going to allow the rhythm of this world to be in tune? you know
Yes.
so that's how I like to view it, and like to share to people, because then they're like, oh wait, yeah, and then they're like, well, how do I be in my rhythm, and it's like, well, what do you feel like right now? I mean, it's the simplest question, but we're so
But it's so true. Like, I
yeah.
kind of feel like that's the only question. Like, how do you feel right now? And you know what? I think that feels very like uncomfortable, or like a little bit bizarre, because we don't get asked that very often. Or if we do, a lot of times what does come out, and I'm not meaning this harshly, is like a superficial answer,
Yes.
because we haven't really connected to that.
Hmm.
And then when you ask somebody to really connect to that, I think that's my favorite thing, when you ask them to really connect to that, and they're just gonna like, oh, like what do I feel right now? And it's almost like you could kind of see them going like almost like being confused, because they didn't like. And I think that's where we need to start to help people start building that connection, right? Because
Yeah.
it is that connection of coming back into that mind, body, and soul.
Hmm.
Because when we're doing all the time, and we're seeking outside all the time, and we're in the hustle and bustle of,
Yeah.
of that what the rhythm currently is, it is shifting, everyone. But
Yeah.
where it currently is that I think a lot of times we spend a lot of time outside of our body and outside of ourselves just to survive that.
Yeah.
So when we ask that question, it's almost like it immediately forces them to bring everything inside.
Mhm.
And I think that's where all the magical stuff starts to happen, right?
Yeah, well said. Yeah, absolutely. It's a form of, what I see is a lot of disassociation. Like you said, we've had to survive. Like, other people are telling us who we need to be, and then we got conditioned that the world is telling us who we need to be, through all the commercials and propaganda and this and that. And that's what I would like to demystify about the spiritual reality too, is like, don't let's not put anybody up on pedestals. Let's not see anybody as better than. And and I've had my own experience with that too, especially first claiming my power and stepping into the field of it and going, wow, look at all these people doing these great things and writing their books and doing this and doing that, and and then going, how do I step into that reality, and then having to go through those own processes myself. And now it's like, you want to know what feels the best is just being me, and whatever that means in this moment. Like, I can't live anybody else's life, and I don't want to. It's like, who am I? And I find it a great adventure. I'm always sharing with people, like, see it as an adventure and curiosity of, like, who are you? Like, who am I? And what do I get to experience? And yeah, maybe it's uncomfortable to recognize that you've been here the whole time. And I think that's what I had to go to through too, is like, oh my goodness, like I had all these ideas and beliefs and stuff, but this has been with me my whole life. And because, we feel it. And that's what keeps us going through our, our growth processes, is that part of us that knows that I'm whole and I'm good. Like I'm good. What
Yes.
all this other stuff that you took on. Okay, great. But the part of us that's like good with us is the one that keeps speaking and saying, keep going, keep going. Yeah, it's uncomfortable. Keep going. And going means not the hustle and bustle, but keep learning, keep growing, keep reflecting, keep relaxing into the body and giving yourself permission to have that space to hear your own voice, to hear your own body speak, your own mind, your own heart. And the heart's where it's at. Like that's for me, that place to, sink into and be like, wow, right. There's such a purity in the heart that wants to be created. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, and I love it. And I'm gonna read Lisa commented again. But I love that you say that, because when you say that, what I'm hearing is we are always in the right place at the right time. I think
Yeah.
that we've been told everything that we, like you said, like conditioned by, by people, by the world, that we have to be here. And like it's kind of like, even once we start to get close to here, now it's moved again, and now I have to be here, and we're never going to be here, but we're always going to be right there where we are. And
Yes.
I've often heard people that I've worked with, they're like, I just feel like I'm so behind in where I'm supposed to be. And I'm like, well, where are you supposed to be? Like, and then they give this laundry list of all this stuff that's like in the future. And I'm like, but if that's where you're supposed to be right now, you would be there. Like, you would already be there. So where are you supposed to be right here, right now?
Yeah.
And making that be okay. And I think I'm going to say the world as a whole has conditioned it to make us always feel like we're just never good enough where we are, and we always have to be better. And the truth is, like you said, when you go inside, you are right where you're supposed to be. You are 100% perfect and enough.
Yeah.
So what more do you need?
Yeah.
Because the next thing that's supposed to come for you when you're in that space again, will be projected out, and it's going to be shown to you. And then there it is. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah. Yeah,
So
I'm just hearing, let's dissolve all the arbitrary clocks or all the forced shoulds, coulds, would'ves clocks, or have to be
yes.
clocks, and be like, you want to know what? What if we step into our own divine universal timing, and
Mhm.
those clocks, sometimes what happens is it gets sped up, or it
Mhm.
slows down because, we have to do some things first, and like you said, it's not like the way I thought it was going to be in 2 years. And maybe it's actually even better, hopefully, because we sometimes can't conceive of the gift that we are. Like sometimes because we're thinking from this place of, have to's or shoulds or whatever, or just like if we're just open, something that we may not have even conceived, we become. And
Mhm.
it's so powerful. It's so powerful. We may feel the nudges and some things, and we may have some words to put on it, but it may be way more than we ever could imagine. And I think that's where that deep surrender and willingness to just say, what if I do just listen and let go and allow? And if I do that, what if, like you were saying, that magic happens? And
Mhm.
I just like just inviting everyone here to play with that, like see it as a play, because we've gotten into this idea of the game of life that it's like, oh, I'm gonna, it's almost like, what's the reward? We're always shooting for something because there's going to be a reward. I sometimes have the experience where I'm excited or inspired and I do something, right? But it doesn't have that same kind of energy of like, oh, I did this, I achieved this. It's more of like, okay, cool, that happened and I learned this and I grew from that and okay, cool. It's not that it's flat, but it's also just not that same kind of reward, because we're in that reward punishment idea. And so let's let that go too, of what we're who we're being isn't about the reward and achieving something. It's about how the quality of life we get to live in the moment. And that's going back to what you were saying earlier, that regulated nerve system. Like, what if we just feel good in our bodies? Oh my gosh, wouldn't that be amazing?
Yes, I agree. And and we just like you said, like we got to get back to that. We're so dissociated. We've got to pull that energy.
Yeah,
We've got to just pull it all back together. And okay, so I do want to read what Lisa wrote.
sure.
Lisa said, a cool example I can share of living in the flow and tuning into the quantum is I felt I would synchronistically meet up with a friend to talk at a moment that would be aligned and released it. It aligned today at the exact moment for the highest and best for both of us.
Mm.
Oh, I love these examples, Lisa, that you're giving because like me and Kristen we talk about this, but when
Yeah,
we have audience members that are like, yes, like I'm living in this, it just provides, I hate to use the word proof, but just a good example that like
yeah,
everybody can do this. Like you
yeah,
want to because I mean, I was really lost in that hustle and bustle, which was also creating fear because I was thinking, oh, I can't let this go because what if all of this? And then one day I was just like, forget it. Like I'm done with it. And the
mhm.
moment that I released all of it, I like the next day I woke up and I was the calmest I had ever been in my life. I
Nice.
wasn't worrying about, like honestly, like how will I pay this bill or where will this come from? And and every once in a while that little old life wants to like pull me back a little bit. And I'm like,
Yeah,
you show me all the reasons why I don't want to be there. But I really want to say that what you're talking about today, Kristen, is living like I'm living in that moment of just knowing that it's going to be okay. Or if something comes up, like where am I in this moment? In this moment, I'm in a state of trust.
yeah.
That's what it's gonna be.
Hmm.
So I don't know. I am gonna pose it because if there is, are there anybody else that has any comments or questions or anything that you want to share? You are more than welcome to come off mute and go ahead and share it. Or if you prefer to put it in the chat, please let me just put it in the chat and I will go ahead and read it. But
Yeah.
I do want to give everybody in our audience an opportunity to share or ask questions and
Mhm.
um
Yeah.
yeah.
What I love about hearing from Lisa too is, just knowing that, okay, if she's doing it, if you're doing it, if I'm doing it, then there's probably a lot more other people that are doing it. And so let's have trust and faith that the collective right now is really coming online and moving with this shift. Because I know a lot of people are saying, oh, the collective is, not doing this or not doing that. And it's like, well, first, let's bring it home to ourselves. What are you doing? And let's not worry about the collective because what's important is your own embodiment and resonance. And then from there, the more you do it and the more other people can do it. And
Mhm.
so I'm just saying, like, oh, it feels to me like we are, really shifting the scales of what's happening on this planet right now because we're choosing this, and that there's got to be way more people than we might think of that are doing it. And so
Yes.
let's feel into the possibility, the potential, and the faith and the trust.
Well,
Yeah.
and that's part of that ripple effect, right? When
Yeah.
and, I like there's I believe that there is a lot of givers in this world, like that want to just make the world a better place, right?
Yeah.
And I think and I think sometimes, and I'm going to say I'm guilty of this. I'm like, well, if I want to make the world a better place, like I have to go out and do, right? But I realize that the first thing to make the world a better place starts with me because when I am in alignment and I am living from that flow about everything that we talked about, it automatically feeds the collective. And that is my part that I get to play in that. Like it's not always so difficult of having to do the hustle and bustle and run, to save the world,
Mhm.
to help the world. It's just about being.
Yeah.
Okay.
Agree.
Lynn, you would like to share something. Go ahead and come off mute and share.
Okay, thanks. My name's Lynn, and I retired 12 years ago, 13 years ago. And during my job, I worked almost 40 years as a teacher, 39 years, and raised my daughter as a single parent. And I felt like I wasn't living. I didn't realize it till after I retired. But, I was born in in 1949. So the 50s, 60s, the idea was you work, you take care of yourself. None of the spiritual stuff. I had no clue what that was till about 10, 15 years ago. So, now I'm living, I feel like I'm living, but it's so strange to think back the difference of what my life was like to what it's like now.
Mhm.
It's just such a contrast.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening.
Yeah, no, thanks. Thank you for sharing. Again, another beautiful example of what we're talking about. And the more that we can, the more that we can encourage other people to do that. I always imagine the more people we can encourage to do that, like how, if we do feel into the collective, like how amazing would the collective feel, because oftentimes when people tap into the collective, they can like, it's almost like it's really uncomfortable because we can feel that it is in alignment with who we are, right? But the more we do that, the more it comes into alignment.
Yeah.
I love it, Lynn. Thank you for sharing that. And I love that you can see the contrast between then and now and the life that you're experiencing and living now. So thank you
Yeah.
for sharing that. Kristen, I'm sorry, I don't know if you had anything to say. I get excited about it. So I'm like, yes.
Yeah, no, I love your excitement, Kelly. Yeah, I appreciate you, Lynn, too. And what a beautiful way to have a life transition. And I love that it feels like you're okay with, okay, yep, that's what life was. And now I get to be this, And I think that's how we can really also attune ourselves is that we go through things in life, we go through experiences in life as part of our soul plan, right? Part of our soul experience. And a part of you knew, okay, this is going to be her time. This is going to be my time, even though you didn't know it consciously. It's going to be my time once once I retire. I get to experience and explore and expand. And so just celebrating you, Lynn, and being able to have that now in your life. It's really beautiful.
I think
Yeah.
it's yeah, I think it's amazing. Thank you for sharing, Lynn. Lisa, you said that you had something that you would like to share. Would you like to come off mute and share as well?
Thank you, Kelly. Thank you, Kristen. Yeah, I wanted to share that recently in the last few weeks, I had a couple instances and situations where I felt I was responding in a way that was taking me out of flow. And I put pressure on myself in the emotion behind it of like, figure this out. You got to decide how you're going to do it. What are you going to do? And then my nervous system just went haywire. I could feel it. And I also observed, as well as fell into some old patterns of coping that I'm like, oh man, I haven't done that in so long. And I knew that it was because my nervous system was in overload. And I sat with it and worked with it. And then when I came back into flow, it slowly started to calm down and things slowly started to go away. And I finally came to my own inner connection to me and I said, it's not right now. Right now is not the time. It's not the flow. It will be when it's meant to be. And even though this is a highly emotional charged situation, which can overload us in what we know with staying in the flow sometimes, at least for me, that once I caught it and said, all right, I'm coming back into the way I know I am to be and it's settling down now and I'm getting out of the mind and working more into the heart and so a lot of the dysregulation of the nervous system has started to calm back down. So you guys had mentioned earlier how the nervous system can get very dysregulated when we're forcing or pushing or feeling like we should of any kind of thing. So
Mhm.
I'm thinking that that might be helpful for others that to share with each other experiences of that kind of nature. So thank you for listening.
Mhm.
Yes. Thank you for sharing. Kristen, do you have anything you'd like to add or?
Yeah, no, I really appreciate sharing your personal experience, Lisa. And same with me. Like right in my life now, if I start to worry about things or I get it's such immediate feedback of my body being like, and no, we're not holding that vibration, you know, because my nervous system will just go haywire like immediately. And I'm like, oh, right. You know, and then I'll have, you know, just do some breathing and watch what I'm thinking and my emotions around something and just go, okay, well, you know, just inviting myself to come into my divine flow again, come into my body again, come into whatever and take care of whatever the thoughts or the emotions that I'm having around that's creating any of the, you know, the nervous reaction or the maybe anxious reaction or in my body. And then when I'm like, oh, right. Yeah. Yeah, I don't need to worry about those things. That's just like you were saying earlier, Kelly, it's just an old part of myself wanting to come back in that I just feel my body just right. And then I can click back into that space of, all right, what's now, you know? And it's a powerful place to be when we're willing to notice ourselves in those moments and give ourselves what we need. And the nourishment right now, what I'm really hearing as well as we're getting into, you know, this rhythm of ourself is how much are we really nourishing ourselves by connecting with ourselves, by giving ourselves what we need. And I feel that this self-nourishment is so key in creating a more embodied, calm, relaxed state to where, because what happens when our nerve system is at that heightened state of, you know, dysregulation, all of our higher senses and functions, our intuitions and all of that just start, you know, we can't embody that type of frequency. And so when we allow ourselves to nourish ourselves and get more relaxed, that's when, like you were saying earlier, Kelly, the magic happens. That's when our intuition comes alive. That's when our inner clarity shows up. That's when we get into flow. And it's such an incredible, it was huge for me. I used to be, I didn't realize how stressed I was when I was younger, you know, and in certain experiences. And I had no idea until I was like, wow, look how I feel now compared to that. Like, wow, that was just normal. You know, it was just a normal way of living. I didn't know any different. And then when I started to go, okay, let's tend to the nervous system, let's nourish myself, let's do this, and whatever were self-care, whatever words I used at the time to transition. Now, like I said, it's immediate feedback. It's like, okay, take some moments here, breathe. Like I don't want to, I can't, I personally, it's very challenging to live in that state, you know, and so I'm really aware of it. So I appreciate you sharing, Lisa. Yeah.
Yes. And I do want to point out one thing that Lisa was actually repeating, and I do want to highlight this is she kept saying, I just started to talk to myself.
Yeah.
So I think that sometimes when we are dysregulated and we're kind of feeling the chaos of what's going on in the nervous system. And I just want to say, I think this is another thing that we truly are starting to like decondition is we think, oh, we have to do this big thing, or I have to do this
Yeah.
enormous thing just to try to calm down. And truthfully, our bodies know, and the minute that we start talking to it in a way that it knows, and like our subconscious and our higher self recognizes, and the body consciousness itself,
Yeah.
like the more that we talk to ourselves in the way that talking to ourselves in a way of nourishment, like you said, the body does start to calm down. The nervous system goes, well, wait a minute, this isn't what I need to do. And it really can be as simple as that, as just encouraging yourself and saying, no, that's not what I want, but this is what I want. And this is what feels good. And then watching all of that, again, that magic and that change start to happen.
Yeah, I love that you shared that because I love acknowledging it. Like I'll just place my hands on my body somewhere and just be like, okay, we're anxious. Oh, I feel you. You know, I feel you. I hear you, mind. You know, I hear you. I feel you, emotions, whatever it is. And then it's like I'm bringing it home because a lot of times it feels like static and it starts to bring us out here, you know, and we're like, ah, you know, and then we're just kind of unmindfully going about ourselves. So when we're doing that, we're just bringing ourselves to the present moment. And then like you said, our body just automatically knows, and it's like, oh, okay, wait, I'm getting the attention that I really need. Let's see where you can go from there, And sometimes I'll rub the back of my neck where the vagus nerve is, or sometimes just rub my arms, and just give myself that space to go, okay, we're here.
Right.
We're right here. And everything's okay. It really is. Maybe there is something going on in life right now that's really challenging, and I'd really like to respond or relate to it from a different place. So let's take this moment, and see how we can move through it differently. And just like you said, keep encouraging the self to do that. So yeah, thank you.
Yes. I love that. So does anybody else have any questions, comments, anything that they would like to share?
I've loved this conversation, Kelly. Thank you, and everyone
Yeah, if
here.
I could, real
Yeah.
quick, I know you guys, I'm honoring your time. I also realized in going inward with what I shared is there also was a purpose for it.
Yes.
And I don't ever beat myself up when anything like that comes up, even if I do let myself get frazzled or whatever. It brought up some emotions that I needed to release and
Yeah.
some awarenesses that I was listening to beloved advice from a beautiful soul sister, yet it was in a heightened vibration of, I guess for lack of a better word, kind of like panic or oh no, or oh my, I have to figure this right now, or oh, the situation could become imminent. And then when you bring it back in, it shows you that, okay, how do I feel about this? Not what do I think about it?
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
And what I just added in oh, I didn't hit enter, sorry. I typed in as well is what Kristen described has sometimes been called havening.
Yeah.
And I always do that and find my hands go to the heart mostly. Sometimes it can go to the solar plexus and the heart, like one hand each. And
Yep.
then on occasion, since I've trained with Reiki, my hands naturally will go to like the top as well as the nape of my neck with the head area. And it just, I'm led to wherever that touch needs to be
Yeah.
that also assists. But yeah, a lot of the essential oils tend to help as well, like certain blends that have synergistic plants that will aid
Yeah.
in the
Yeah.
process of what we're doing
Mhm.
on all these points that we're talking about. So yeah,
Yeah.
thank you, Kristen. That reminded me of that too.
Yeah, you're welcome, Lisa. Yeah, I love to place a hand on my heart as well. And a lot of my meditations that I lead people through, we're placing hands on our body, and it helps really. It's like where our hands go, our attention goes. Like that's how the brain works, right? Where our hands are, our attention goes. So it's like it's always a great thing. And so I appreciate you, Lisa, sharing that. And yeah, I was gonna say havening, but I'm like, I'm not sure if people are gonna know what that word means. So I love essential oils. I use them pretty regularly myself. It's always great to have these external tools for us to be able to use when we're having those moments. But I have found too, even just recently, uh, last month actually, I was having some really intense bouts of nervousness, and I was like, where is this coming from? I'm like, I'm not used to that. And it felt like, there's a lot of surges too. We were having those a lot of solar flares happening at once, and my body really, definitely responds to those. But it was like, this is over the top. Like literally like having panicky feelings when I'm not a panicky nervous type of person anymore. I was when I was younger. And so I was like, wow. But like Lisa was saying, when I sat with it and just felt into it, there was stuff there to work through that this energy was like pinging, and bringing up. So a lot of times it is a great way to go inside and do that self-reflection and allow whatever transformation or healing or breakthrough is there available in that energy. And sometimes it's over the top enough that sometimes you need some support, but luckily enough, I was able to sit with it and move through it. So thank you, Lisa, for sharing. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. Thank you, Lisa. Yes. I always love that. It's so funny that you said it wasn't that long ago because I was experiencing the same thing and I was like, this is out of the norm. Like, this is
Yes.
crazy. But one of the things that I love is about like sitting with it. I usually sit with it and I'm like, okay, just show me.
Yes.
Show me so I can have it come into my awareness. And
Mhm.
once it comes into my awareness, then I have a choice that I get to make. And I always get excited about choices. And I'm like, either I can choose to stay in it and
Mhm.
continue that way, or, and honestly, I can choose to step out of it. And stepping out is not always the easiest thing to do. But even when I'm like, ooh, like I have to try to get out of this, is like, this is going to be difficult, right?
Mhm.
But what I found is like just doing one simple thing, which might be like, in all honesty, the other day I mean, I was really struggling. That's why I'm like, oh, I know this. And then I was like, well, I have a choice. Like, I can kind of stay in my misery, and that's okay. Like, no judgment. That's just where I need to be. Or like, I can choose to step out of it. And then I was sitting there going, thinking, I don't even know how to step out of this. And then I got an idea where I just stood up and I just took a step. And all it was to get the energy moving. And all of a sudden I could just feel my whole body just relax because I just made the choice to step out of it.
Mm.
So I think that's one of the cool things about going inside. It may be really difficult and we may have to deal with some really raw stuff. But the cool thing is that once it's in your awareness, you get the power and the autonomy to make a choice of where you want to go with it and how you want to move forward with it. And no way is right or wrong. It's just what do I want to do in this moment? And then
Mhm.
be able to do that. And I think that, and the reason that I'm bringing it back to this is that oftentimes when we are in those moments, we think we have to look outside ourselves or find somebody else to do this for us. And really what it comes down to is just, we get to make the ultimate decision. And maybe it is finding somebody else like I do. I like to project I'm a projector. So I project onto people and I'm like, well, and then once I'm done, I'm good. But it is just about making that choice of where do I want to be? So, so a couple more things in the chat. Oh, Teresa said this is an amazing resonant conversation. Thank you so much. Thank you, Teresa. I'm so happy when things like hit and you resonate with it. And then Lisa said, living in an area where I can walk to the beach, I will give and receive from ocean to assist with release and feel calm. Oh, I
Mhm.
love that
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
much.
Thank you. Yeah.
So I thank you everyone that shared and that came off mute and shared in the chat. I love it when we have a conversation and people are feeling the conversation. So thank you, Kristen, for bringing this conversation today.
Mhm.
So you have some amazing stuff that's happening.
Mhm.
First, you have your summit.
Mhm.
And then you have your retreat. Would you like to talk about that? And then we'll talk about the generous donation gift that you're offering to people.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. And I just wanted to share, Lisa, I love nature. Nature is my refuge as well to connect. Uh yeah, I'm a generator, so it's like that's where sometimes the nonstop can go. Things are just moving. It's like, okay. But yeah, no, I'm in the experience right now. I created the Unity Consciousness event, and this week we actually had 5 live conversations. I just had one earlier, and there's going to be 2 recorded ones this weekend, and then I go live on Monday to do some intuitive guidance and having conversations around the themes that came through the conversations of the event. And you can it's been incredible. And some of these themes, we've had some really powerful themes that some of them we touched on here today throughout the event, and I know some of you that are here are actually listening into that event too, so I appreciate you being continuously present. That's fantastic. So I know that the link will be provided for that if you want to join, because next week, Wednesday through Wednesday, let's see, no, it's Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. There'll actually be a 3-day replay where you can access all 8 of the conversations to listen at your leisure. So if you want to join that, you can do that. And then in October here, another guided thing is I created the Embodied Temple of Light Immersion. It's going to be a retreat here on the land in Hot Springs, Arkansas, where we get to do just what we've been talking about. We are going to spend time together, unwind, let unplug from normal life and really deepen our connection with ourself, our inner voice. We're going to be on the land and nature doing some things as well. And so it's going to be an incredible time to really deepen self-connection. So that's what I have happening in October of this year. If you'd like to join that, the Embody Temple of Light immersion. So yeah.
Oh, I love it. Thank you for sharing that. So for the
Mhm.
people that are on the call, both those links are like, if you scroll all the way up the top of the chat, they're in the chat for you. So like, Kristen said, many of you are already participating. If you are not and you're interested, please click on that. For those of you who will be catching the replay, those will be in her speaker center. So if you are loving what we're doing today and you love Kristen as much as all of us do right here, please click on those links, sign up for her summit, sign up for her retreat. But it will be available to you. I want to make sure that all of you have access to that.
Thank you.
So yes, thank you for sharing that. And then you also graciously have provided a donation gift for the live that will go towards this SheRises Foundation. And your gift is the daily upgrade series. Would you like to share with everybody what that is?
Yeah, I was really inspired at one moment because, we talk about energetic hygiene. We talk about being able to be in stillness and use our breath and all these things for different things. So I actually created a series of meditations where one is specifically about connecting into the breath. Another one is, working with our light body. Another one is going into stillness, being gratitude. Another one is gratitude and love, so there's just a series of shorter meditations that really support you just like getting into that zone or whatever the topic of that meditation is. And it really, I find that, and then I did one, there was all one, so it's a longer meditation that incorporates all the individual meditations into one longer meditation to be able to flow through the whole process of really getting connected to yourself, really getting into your breath, your unified field of your own consciousness, and gratitude and love. And it's something I do every day in my meditation. And I may not be there for an hour or so, but I'm in my just sitting meditation every day. But those are the techniques that I use in my meditation and throughout the day to support me in my experience of being more present and embodied and connected. So I hope that you would take that, because this, like Kelly said, this is what's going to support other women in their businesses. So or their life. I'm not used to, and I think it's really amazing what Kelly's doing. So thank you. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. And
Yeah.
what you're donating sounds amazing. So like I said, if the people that are on this call, the people that watch the replay, if you're resonating with with the conversation that we're having today and with Kristen, please, that donation link is in her speaker center. All you have to do is click on it. You can provide as long as it's just a minimum donation of $5 or whatever your heart feels like giving. And I do want to share this caveat is that once you do pay for it, you will get 2 emails. So there will be a second email that comes. If you don't get it, check your spam, because sometimes it does end up in your spam. But if you don't get it, just reach out to me and I will definitely send it over to you. Because it's just a huge thank you to everybody who has donated. It's been really incredible because, like I was sharing with Kristen earlier, this was just an idea and an inspiration that I had to just really wanting to support everyone. And my exchange in return is also I'm being supported through the nonprofit to be able to, again, pay it forward to just help women rise up and whatever that looks like, because it's different and unique for everyone. So I don't want to be the one that says, oh no, it has to be this. So it's there to support women in just really stepping back into that feminine rising that we are entering into. So Kristen, thank you so much. Another amazing conversation. I really enjoyed our time today.
Yeah.
I have enjoyed everybody that has been on this call that is either shared openly or in the chat. It has been an amazing and fun time. So thank you so much to everyone. Kristen, again, the invitation is always open to come back anytime that you want. But just a huge thank you to everyone. And we will be back again next week. So I look forward to seeing everyone next week. And until then, everyone, so much love and gratitude from my heart to yours. So grateful for everyone. So everyone have a good rest of your day, and until next week.
Thank you.